Welcome back, GED scholars and math warriors, to Algebra 104, Part 6, The Mystery of the Vanishing Slope. And folks, like I've said in all of the other Algebra 104 videos, this is Part 6, so please make sure you review Parts 1 through 5 in order to really understand what we're talking about when we discuss the slope of a line. So let's go ahead and get started. So we learned in the other video, the last one, part 5, about the coordinate grid and the different axes. We have the x-axis that is horizontal, the y that is vertical, and we talked about ordered pairs. And those ordered pairs were different points that we could see on a line. So we can see one ordered pair from that dot that I placed there. There's another one over here that I placed. But basically, any point on this line is considered that ordered pair. And remember, the ordered pair was written out as the value for x and then the value for y. So when we look at these lines, the green one, the red one, and the two blue ones, I want you to pay attention to something that is really important when it comes to slope of a line. Because what we see with the slope of the line of the green one is that from left to right, it's decreasing, it's going downwards. So this tells me that this is a negative slope. Versus this red one right here that I see, from left to right, I notice that it's going up, it's rising. And for that reason, I would call this the positive slope. So this one would be the positive slope and the green one would be the negative slope. And then we have these two blue lines. So this top line, you'll notice it's just straight, right? It's just basically, it might as well be the x-axis itself. It's moving from left to right. And because it's just going straight, this has a zero slope. Okay, well, what about the other blue line that looks like it could just be the y-axis? It's just a vertical line, top to bottom. Well, when we see this, we're told then that it is undefined. The slope is undefined. So you want to make sure that you pay attention when you see lines on a coordinate grid, where they're going from left to right. The green one, as I mentioned, it's going downwards. But what we can tell is that there's a decrease in the y-axis. So it's a negative slope versus the red line. We notice that there's an increase, and that is our positive. So when I want to find the slope, I need to find the rise over the run. And I don't know why that pen color just switched on us, but we need to do rise over run. And one way I could do that is if they show me a line the way they do here, I'm going to find 2 points and I'm going to count how many spaces or how many lines it'll take from one point to the next. So say, for example, I decide that this is going to be 1 point up here at, what is that? 5. So what's on my x would be -6 and 5. And then another point that I see that could be helpful for us was going to be right down here. And that's at -1, -3. So I need to count the rise. So rise is going to be represented by the y-axis. So let me count, and I went negative, right? Because I'm going downwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I went down -8. And then how many did I go over? Well, let's go and start counting. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I have 5. So the rise over run is -8. And I know, folks, this is the dirtiest, ugliest 8 ever. But you know what it is. You can hear me say it's an 8. And so I would say that the slope of this green line is -8 over 5. And the same is true if we were shown a line and we know it's a positive because from left to right, it's going upwards, it's moving up to the right. So I need to find 2 points and then I'm going to count how many lines it took for me to get to the second point. This point looks like a good point, and find another point where we can actually count to it. And I'm going to save this point right here. We might have to move this line for this example, but that's okay. So when I want to move from left to right, how many do I need to go up? Because remember, rise first. So you're going to count steps up on this y-axis. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 is my rise, and here comes a ugly 7. Nope, better than the 8 though. And then the run. So how many lines do I need to move to the right? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the slope of this positive line is 7 over 6. So another reason that you want to make sure you pay attention on how to find the slope of a line is because if you see any problems on the math exam that asks you what the unit rate of something is, you want to make sure you're using the same concept, the same rules for when you found the slope of a line. But when they ask you for a unit rate, they're asking you how many units of one quantity there are per unit of another quantity. So the example you see on the screen is showing you the quantity of cost, what we see on the left, represented by the y-axis, and then it is per the unit of gasoline. The unit rate is going to be the cost over the gallons of gasoline. And we'll just write gallons. So as we can see, that's going to give us y over x, which is rise over run. So if I have this one point over here, and then I have a second point, and let's find somewhere where we can count to, that looks like it intersects. I'm going to count first up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 over, and then how many to the right? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 over 4. And because this is a unit rate, we can go ahead and divide so we can simplify. So we would do 5 divided by 4. Folks, if you need your calculator, pull up your calculator. But 5 divided by 4 is going to give us $1.25, which, oh my gosh, if that's how much gas costs nowadays, that would be insane because I know it doesn't. So we were able to find the unit rate based on the slope of this line. So in addition to maybe showing you a line on a grid the way we just saw and we counted the spaces so we can find rise over run or the slope, they might give you ordered pairs that we see on the screen right now, 1 comma 4 and then the -5 2, and then they'll ask you, well, what is the slope? And you're like, oh my gosh, do I have to draw this out? No, you don't, folks. You are going to use the slope formula like you see on the screen to figure out what the slope is. And if you're like, oh my goodness, I have to memorize this equation. No, you don't, folks. As you can see from the screen, you are going to receive the formula sheet and you should be studying from the sheet. If you didn't realize that you're going to get this, I want you to make sure you download this, and I have a link below in the description box. Please, please, please download this formula sheet and recognize what is on this, because it's going to be a tool that they are going to let you use on the exam, like they let you use your calculator. So it's so important for you to make sure you understand what is on this formula sheet and when do you need to go to this. So as you can see, one of these formulas that we're going to talk about is the slope formula. They share it, and it's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so we know, okay, well, it's rise over run. And instead of counting the lines, we are going to just count the ordered pairs here. So it doesn't matter if the 1 comma 4 is going to be represented by x1 and y1, or if it was -5 and 2. That doesn't matter. You just need to assign the ordered pairs to each of the variables. So we have x2 and y2 for the -5, 2. And folks, like every other algebra problem, all you need to do is just enter the numbers. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have m equals y2, which is 2, minus y1, which is 4, over x2, -5, minus x1, which is going to be 1. 2 minus 4 is going to give me -2 over, and -5 minus 1 is going to give me -6. And I now know that, hey, 2 over 6, I can simplify this fraction. So -2 over -6 is actually going to then give me 1/3. And if you need your calculator, folks, please make sure pull up your calculator and then type in -2 divided by -6, hit enter, and you'll get 1/3. One more example to figure out the slope using this formula. So I have 2 ordered pairs, right? You just need to pick which one's going to be represented by the x1, x2, or the y1, y2. Please remember, it doesn't matter which one is which. So I'm going to say this first one is x1 and y1. The second one is x2 and y2. So enter the numbers in the formula. As you see, you don't have to memorize the formula. It's on this sheet that you're going to receive at the GED exam. So I have 2 minus 5 over -5 1 minus 3. 2 minus 5 is going to then give me negative 3 over negative 1 minus 3 will give me negative 4. So the slope of this line is negative 3 over negative 4. Up next, we are going to talk about the slope-intercept form, which is a formula, and you can see that on your screen. And don't worry, you don't need to memorize this formula. Just like the other slope formula, you can find this on that formula sheet that you will be able to use when you take the GED exam. So you don't need to memorize this, but you do need to understand what each letter stands for. And basically, when you have a problem where they give you this information, like the slope and an ordered pair, what you're really looking for and how that equation has to look when you're looking for that answer. The equation reads y equals mx plus b. And so the y and the x are basically your ordered pair. When they give you in a problem, they'll give you the slope and then the ordered pair. You're going to use that ordered pair to help you out with the y and the x. The m is the slope, and they'll give you the slope, but if they don't, and all they give you is an ordered pair or two ordered pairs, you know how to find the slope. So don't be worried about that. But as I mentioned, they'll most likely give you the slope. And then we have the letter B. So B is what you're basically going to look for when we work on these types of equations. And what B represents, it's the point where the line crosses the y-axis. It's not an ordered pair, it's where that line literally hits that y-axis. When they give you the slope and they give you an ordered pair, you're going to be looking for B. Once you find B, you're going to rewrite the problem in the y equals mx plus b format to get your answer. And that's why I have y equals over here on the right-hand side, just to remind you, you're basically filling all these parts in to get back to that y equals problem. Let's look at an example. And I'm going to draw a bubble around this so we don't mess anything up. If they tell you that the slope is 4, so I know m equals 4, and then they give you the ordered pair, -1, -6, you have all of the numbers you need so you can input them into this formula and figure out your answer. So let's go ahead and do that. And I have x and y here. So I have -6 equals m, which is 4, x, which is -1, plus b. So you can see b is your variable. You need to get b by itself to figure out what b equals. So I know that I have -6. I'm going to bring it down. 4 times -1 is -4. Bring down the rest of the equation. I'm going to add 4 on this side, so it cancels out. Add 4 on the left. -6 plus 4 is -2. So now I have -2 equals b. I'm not done though. I need to rewrite the equation in the y equals format. So now I'm going to write y equals m, which is 4, x plus -2. And this is my answer, folks. Like I said, you don't need to memorize this formula, but please make sure you understand it. So when they do give you all of these numbers, you know exactly where to input them, and the answer you're looking for will be in the y equals setup. Please make sure to practice this skill by downloading the free worksheet at gedtalk.com/resources, because you just need to make sure you're repeating the habit, the behavior of filling in these formulas with the information they're giving you for it to stick until you take that GED exam and pass. So this is another slope form, but this is called the point slope form. And as you can see, it'll give you your y, it'll give you your x, because that comes from the ordered pair, and then the m, which is the slope. And then you have to figure out what does y equals. So your answer will be in that y equals setup, and that's like I did with the other form. That's why I have y equals over here on the right, so we remember that what we're basically looking for is the answer to get us back to this y equals setup. So let's go ahead and look at an example, and I'm going to draw another bubble around this so we don't mess up. If they give you the ordered pair 4 and 3, and then they say the slope is 2, I have all the pieces that I need. So when you're looking at your formula, you see y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And so you just have to be mindful that the y1 and the x1 are coming from your ordered pair. you're not going to input that information right where it says y. So let's go ahead and input the numbers in the formula so you can see how this works out. So I have y minus y1, and remember y1 is coming from your ordered pair. Y minus 3 equals, and then I have m. Well, I know m, my slope equals 2. So m is 2 times x minus x1, which is 4. So the first thing I need to do is I need to distribute this 2 over here. So I'm going to bring down the rest of the equation. Y minus 3 equals 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Remember, I want to get into y equals, so I'm going to bring the 3 over. It'll cancel on this left side, add it to the right. So I have negative 8 plus 3, which will give me negative 5. And let's bring down the rest of the equation. And once I do that, I get y equals 2x minus 5, which is the answer, folks. Let's look at another example. So if they give you the ordered pair 2, 1, and they tell you the slope is 3, okay, I'm going to label because it makes my life easier. So I have y minus 1 equals m, which I know is 3, times x minus 2. So I'm going to distribute the 3. So I have y minus 1 equals 3x minus 6. I want to get y by itself, folks. So add 1 on the left to cancel it out. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 over here. So now I have y equals 3x. Negative 6 plus 1 is going to give me negative 5. Thanks for watching, folks. You know what you're doing. Keep your head up. You got this.